Hello everyone, welcome to Boats, Booze, and How-Tos. My name is Mr. Jeff, and today we're going to be doing a quick little upgrade project on Blessings of Liberty. We're going to be installing a new USB power source. So the old one is just a 12 volt cigarette lighter, but in today's world, the USB, and we'll put a link down below, right number 2. There's two different styles. There's I think PD is power delivery, I think, for the new iPhones and Galaxy, and then also typical USB, so we could hook our phones right up into it, and then the traditional 12 volt cigarette lighter, which we use for like blow up mattresses and stuff like that. So if you look down below, right here, number 2, this is where the old one is. So I have just the simple 12 volt. I'm going to use the same electrical wires for the connections. And then I also have, this is like a little sounding horn when you start the engines. So able to put this one in here in the same location. I'm hoping to use the same hole here. I'm going to move this horn just below it here, and then install these side by side like this, so I can still set my phone up here on the dashboard and that kind of thing. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I did was just remove the connectors from behind, and there's a little nut that unscrews, and you just take this out. There's the old one, and then here's the sounding horn. It's basically the same type of thing. There's a little nut, and you can just unscrew it. This is the sounding horn right here, and I think I'll put this back on so I don't lose it. I don't want to lose that nut. But all we're going to do is just relocate that. So what I got to do is find a drill bit that is the same size of this hole. It looks like maybe a half. I'm going to stick that like right down here and then just reposition that. All right, now all I got to do is just unscrew this plate and then use this as a template. All right, so all I'm doing is I'm taking the existing plate. I took a Sharpie and I traced the hole. So what I'm trying to do is use the same hole that I had before, and I got lucky because it's exactly the same size, which is like 1 1/8 inches. And unfortunately, it's not the center hole. So I was going to use an 1 1/8 inch bit on this, but since I'm not able to do that, I'm going to take my Dremel and I'm just going to cut this hole out for that USB or a cigarette lighter. So it may be in your application, you may have to run out and get a bit specifically. I had an old one that was 1 1/8 inches, which is basically the same diameter as the device, and you would just drill a hole in the center of what you mark. So I'm going to use that existing hole, and like I said, I can't drill this out. I can't get a center on this to be able to drill that 1 1/8 out, which would have been real nice and clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Dremel bit. It's like a knurled bit, and I'm just going to take that area out. All right, it's not the roundest hole that I've ever done with the Dremel, but it does fit. Just checking the fit, we're good. This hole was plenty big enough, but it fits. I'm gonna put my template over it and make sure it all still lines up, and then I'm gonna spot my holes for the mounting screws. Next thing I did was just make sure that everything lines up with the new plate. Make sure the holes are spaced properly. It's a nice fit. And now I'm just gonna take a little marker once I get this exactly where I want it, and I'm just gonna make a little mark for each one of the holes, because I'm gonna pre-drill the holes with the plate off. Okay, one quick thing for the newbies out there: make sure when you pre-drill your holes, make sure you pick a drill bit that basically lines up with the root diameter of your screw. That's basically the shaft. That's the shaft of the screw. Clearly you don't want to make it as big as the other threads because it won't grip, right? So just make sure you pick one to match up in line with the root diameter of your screw. That's basically the shaft, and that way you'll still get some grip. All right, quick tip with black screws. Sometimes when you're threading in the screws, you might get a little bit of, you know, I didn't strip them because I hand tightened them, but you can always use a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, to kind of cover up any kind of metal mark where you remove the finish. Just a way to make it look nice and clean. All right, on the back of these, you're gonna want to look at the blades, and you'll get directions with the kit. But basically, you're gonna want to line up, you know, positive with positive, negative with negative. So, you know, here's the red on positive. I'm gonna put it on this blade, and the negative, I'm gonna put it on the negative blade. This is the same way. So positive to positive to positive to positive, negative to negative to negative to negative. So I'm basically gonna insert both of these. And quick tip, don't forget to put on your nut on this one as you hook these two up, because otherwise you're going to be taking it off. You're going to be like, wait a second, you know. So let me show you what I mean when I put that through. So one thing you're going to have to decide or match up is the connectors. So for me, coming from the fuse block, the two power sources had these bladed type connectors. So I just went up to the local hardware store, bought the corresponding size, and put it on the two leads. So these two will go on the USB, and this will insert, and then I merely have to connect these two blades, negative to negative, positive to positive, and we'll be all set. We'll test it out. All right, so pretty much done here. I repositioned the horn. That was like a 5/8 bit. I had to take off a little bit with my Dremel, and then everything's installed. I put the power back on to the unit, and to my surprise, I wasn't quite sure what this button was. It should have been obvious to me, but it wasn't. That's actually a little power switch, on-off button. So you can see when it's powered or not. I thought maybe it was like a little breaker. That didn't really make sense to me, but there is a little power indicator light around it, which is really cool to help you know that you're actually charging, on top of just looking at your phone and seeing a little lightning bolt. So pretty easy project, and a nice little upgrade. Well, hello there. Welcome to Drink of the Day. You're gonna hold the camera still?
Yep.
Point number 2. Today, we're doing another seltzer. It's still summer out here in Vermilion, and we're doing High Noons. Sunsips. I don't know. This one in particular is a pineapple, and it says it's made with real juice. So it's a vodka seltzer made with real juice. Unlike some of our other seltzers, I'm hoping this one's gonna be good. So let's rate it on a seltzer scale from 1 to 10. Point number 2?
Yep.
Yep. On a seltzer scale, let's give it, I'm gonna give it high mark, 8.5. High Noon. Very nice.